This is Talking My Walking. I am Rodrigo Ribeiro, and today I'm going to talk about the lost cause of pursuing the individual interest. We are led to believe that we need to pursue our individual interest, to be focused on that. Whether we are focused on our careers, on our business, on our portfolios, or on anything else, it should be always about enhancing our material wealth. And of course, our material wealth also is connected with our experience in business, our acquisition of knowledge, and all that is all that's related with gaining its experience, knowledge, and connections also. So we need the social experience, we need the social we need the connections, we need the networks to build our individual experience and wealth and knowledge and everything else. But we have to be focused and worried about to protect our individual wealth and our individual the private property. So we need to defend the rights, the private property rights, the rights of wealth, because it has to do with us. It doesn't matter if we have $1 billion or a few $1,000 in our banking account, or if you believe you have a house but you have a 30-year mortgage on your back, on your shoulders. So that is how the system we have was designed in order to make us accomplices of the ones that exploit us. Everybody understands. I don't pretend to come up with very deep or original insights about this and that. What I try to do is to emphasize common sense. And why? That we, in spite of understanding the reality, or parts of it at least, and that's where the relevance of having an holistic approach. Because if we have this kind of not connected knowledge and experience, kind of compartmentalized ways of understanding reality, then we do not understand reality. We have the intellectual understanding of things, but it doesn't matter. Why? Because when something is systemic, it means that we are part of it, that our intellectual understanding of it doesn't change anything, because we are going to behave according to the laws of the system, to the principles and values of the system, which are that we need to pursue our individual interests. Because if you don't do it, you are going to be a loser. That's why we don't need to think about it, because we feel it, we know it, we understand it, and we behave accordingly. Because we need to protect ourselves. That's normal. Because we have this reality, this socio-economic reality that shows us with examples, real examples, that we know that if we do not behave according to the principles of the systemic principles of the society, you will be punished. It doesn't matter what are your principles and values, your personal principles and values, and how good of a person you are. You are always divided. We need to develop this strategic, is a life strategy of cognitive dissonance, in order to have live in two different worlds. The world that we call reality, which is the world of the economic interests, and the world of values and principles that we are supposed to honor, but most of us just leave it for later, or keep it for our kind of private life. Even those we try to do good, they at the same time, in the back of their minds, they know they have to defend their interests. And it's not about being bad people. It's about our ability to adapt. And what that means is that we, instead of asking questions about why this reality is like this, is it natural? Does it came about by random, or it was built and designed on purpose by vested interests? And we are trained and indoctrinated at school and at home for the importance, for the relevance of having an education, or being or becoming an entrepreneur, or being innovative, or all that ideological frame that makes us, that prepares us to fit in a system and eventually to become successful and be recognized by society and becoming an important person or whatever, and enjoy the wealth that what the wealth that we are rewarded with by being very successful for a successful adaptation to the system. You are going to be rewarded materially, economically, financially, and therefore we will stand out in society. We will enjoy the things that are only for the few. That we, the other ones that do not enjoy it, are supposed to venerate, to envy, to see as role models, and try to, in a delusional way, to picture it in the future, to kind of imagine that somehow there will be a chance that if we put enough effort, if we work hard enough, we will also might have the opportunity to become one of them, or if not one of them, at least we will be able to go to step a few to go up a few steps in the social ladder. And that's all our lives. I know many people just believe that society slowly, this is a kind of progressive understanding of society that is shared by liberals and conservatives and many all people of all walks of life and ideologies. That okay, society changes slowly, and people all the rights that we now enjoy and the comforts we all enjoy, they just come about slowly, because that's how society evolves. We don't need revolutions. We don't need systemic change. We don't need to question the structure, the systemic structure of the reality we have. We need to question the economic system and a class-based society. No, nothing. That's not the point. We are not supposed to question that. We are not supposed to question why, after almost 100 years, I don't even remember when was it, when it was a kind of recognition for the 8 hours working day, that show we should have 8 hours of work, 8 hours for sleep, and 8 hours for our social life, for leisure, for the house shoring, for whatever we need to have. So this is a kind of a division of 8 hours for work, and we still, and there are people in many parts of the world that, and in the so-called advanced countries, rich countries, people working not only 8 hours, but have the need to have more than one job just to get by. I mean, and we accept it, and we accept that our lives have to be wasted doing bullshit jobs. And by bullshit jobs, I'm not talking about that jobs that are necessary, the jobs that are to produce and in services that are essential for the collective good. No, I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about the jobs that are useless. There are so many jobs useless. And usually many people doing those jobs, they earn more than the ones that actually perform tasks that are essential for a functional society and for the well-being of the collective well-being. The point is that we need to question the reality, because it is obvious that if we do not question the reality, if you don't, not the reality, this might be an ambiguous word, but I question the how society is organized, and how the society and the economy and everything that has to do with human beings living together and sharing a society and sharing. We are social beings. We do not survive alone. That's just a myth. That that is obvious, that whatever we achieve in life, we achieve. We are on the shoulders. We stand on the shoulders of small people, not giants. So that is a very important notion, that society is not. There are these examples of people with that are genius. Okay, they came up with ideas, or they discover laws, or they understand things and it's marvelous. But that individual genius could not exist without the society, and that is that cannot. Those who have they need, those who come up with those ideas, they need time to dedicate. There is the need of time. And again, I go back to time, because it has been always a struggle in my life, my own life. Since I was a young boy, in my teens, that I had the need to work for survival. And you don't know many things about life. Okay, we are ignorant of and we are always things that we ignore and we don't fully understand, and so that will be until the day we die. That is our condition, that we cannot just we need to live with it. But that sense of wasting your time and not being able to have any control over it, especially the time you need to spend with working in jobs that are not rewarding. They are not mentally rewarding. They just they just kill you somehow. They are killing you in some way, and you don't have the time. That time, which it's obvious for everybody as well, that we waste a lot of time in but it's that's how it works. We always waste time in ways that we shouldn't. But there is also the other side, which is that when we know that we want to use our time in creative in other ways, and you cannot find it, because the best hours of your day are wasted just because you need to the money to buy whatever you need to buy, especially for survival. So I do not remember right now who was the man that said that. I'm paraphrasing. I do not remember the quote in a complete way. That means when we are doing nothing, it's exactly when we are most creative. I will find the quote later, but I don't remember it right now, which means that when we are using our time to reflect and to contemplate, to try to enjoy what's around you without the need for without outside of the commodified world, we can achieve much more than we think. We can get to understand more about ourselves and the nature of the world and the nature of society and civilization than in many other activities. So what seems to be useless sometimes sometimes it's the best way to achieve deep understanding of the reality. Wasting time is not when we are not doing nothing, but exactly when we are doing things or having social interactions they are a waste of time. And they are a waste of time. Why? Because we are not sharing anything of value in human sense, not in material sense. We are just it's not when we are chilling, when we are enjoying a time or a meal or a drink or a walk along the beach or somewhere and you just have a nice talk. No, that's not that is joyful. It's not about that. It's about many other activities, consuming infotainment, for example, and sports. Many people enjoy sports, but professional sports are part of the imperialist capitalist mentality. That's one of the ways. That's one of the ways to glorify the individual interest through telling us the story about the meritocracy, about the how much sacrifice, how much personal investment is there, which is true, but that should be not for the purpose, but it has an ideological purpose to validate a system. It has not the purpose to be anything else. That's why they pay them a lot, because it's a distraction. Since those people, again, going to time, since those athletes, and players, they need the time and they need the resources to invest and to acquire the skills and develop their natural talents in order to become those stars that are supposed to be venerated by us, because they accomplish things that are out of the normal. They are not, and they become kind of gods. So, and it's not because it is nothing wrong with that, but at the same time, or by the same token, if you prefer, the system we have denies us the ability to also enjoy time, to develop our skills, to develop a purpose, because we all have skill, we all have talents. There are always, we also, all of us need to have, to enjoy a life with meaning and purpose. And the meaning and purpose should be a discovery. It is about the discovery. It is about the process. It is not about something that we copy or mimic or are imposed on us with social and engineering. And that is a very important point, because life is not only an experience. Life is a discovery, is a process, and we do not know who we are. We discover and build who we are. And we need to understand, to question the system in exactly, because in order to understand why do we need to have lives, pointless lives, pointless jobs, and why do we have to why there is so much abundance? And by the way, the scarcity, we live in an environment, a socioeconomic environment, where scarcity is manufactured on purpose to coerce us. We need to understand it. This is not because this is all this. All this is by design. And that's why they need us as accomplices. You know, they need us. That's why it is also crucial to understand the evilness of a hierarchical society, because it allows them, and by them it's not just random them, it's the oligarchs and plutocrats that they need the state, to use the state to control us. They need a professional managerial class. That's the first platform, the first layer of accomplices they want to, for the purpose of controlling the rest of us. But the idea is to keep it that way all the way down, to make us little capitalists, fanatic capitalists. And by capitalists I mean believers in private property and wealth accumulation and maximization of profit. As I'm not talking about markets, I'm talking about what are the principles of capitalism, which in my opinion is the sacrality, the primacy of private property rights, wealth accumulation without limits, maximization of profit. So, which means that we need to normalize and naturalize exploitation and resource extraction and all the rest that comes with it. So we need, since the capitalist system needs to expand, imperialism is justified. There is the need for hegemony. There is a reason, why the Americans that came the real superpower, could not compare the Soviet Union with the USA after the Second World War. That's it. That's if people compare it, is because people do not know what they are talking about. The Americans were America, US. The US was the great beneficiary of the Second World War. And from now on, the project, what later came to be the project for the 21st American century, was already in their mind, to this hegemony. It has just evolved, and then with the globalization, neoliberal globalization, they want to achieve to make sure that every country would be in the financial grid, would be indebted, and would be impossible to survive without being a vassal to the American order, to the US order, to the so-called rules-based international order. That's what people know it now. So this was already there, or even before the Second World War. But after the Second World War, was obvious what was the purpose of what the U.S. empire, or if you prefer, the Anglo-American empire, was about. That is today. There is lots of evidence, lots of documentation to prove it. This is not about misinformation or conspiracy theories, and it is real. It has been a project. So that's why we, in spite of all our ability to understand intellectually, we do not organize or unite to challenge the prevailing order, the system that we have in place, because there is also, which we do not think when we just think about that, when we are is the TINA acronym, there is no alternative, okay? But do we really think about that, about what it really means? Is that the narratives that exist, you know, that tell us how many stories, how many narratives there are spreading the values and the principles that exactly exist to make sure we can find them everywhere. They are everywhere. We don't even notice them, but they exist there. They are in so many stories, just to make sure that deep inside us, on our subconscious mind, we do not see a way out. We do not see alternatives to fight for. Because all the divisions that exist, cultural wars, wokeism, personality cult, right-wing nationalism and populism, and fascism, and all the narratives, if you think about it, all of them ending up serving a purpose. And that purpose is to make us feel and believe, even if we don't think about it, we don't need to do it consciously, but we are colonized by the idea of there is no alternative, and therefore we do nothing that makes us that brings the state of helplessness, which means that subconsciously we already admit that there is nothing we can do to change this reality, and it is much easier, and it is more emotionally we have our minds captive, and then we just are driven by the emotional narratives, you know, that divide us. The pro-abortion, pro-life, pro-LGBTQ, blah blah blah, against LGBT, blah blah. No, all these divisions, socio-cultural divisions, they obfuscate the political economic reality that really needs the class. It is an obstruction. It is a wall. It is a wall that exists, an ideological war and cultural wall that has the purpose of blinding us from seeing and focusing our interest, our intellectual curiosity in the reality of what could we do in order to have a systemic change, in order to have a political, a social and ecological political economy, and a civilization, a post-imperialistic civilization, a civilization, a holistic, ecologic civilization. That should be where we should be focusing our energy, our intellectual energy, our intellectual curiosity. But we don't, because we are captured, we are hijacked by the system, because the system is not only about the physical, the material, the institutions that exist, the corporations, the banking system, all the institutions that are physical, that are the ones that are part of the world that we can touch. But there is the other ones, the institution like money, that we need to understand, because that's the tool that is used. That's the most powerful tool for social control and social engineering. And most of us do not understand money, even if we need to use it every day, and if we go out to work for it, and if we deny, we are dehumanized just in order to make some money. Our humanity is destroyed, and nevertheless, I would dare to say that most of us do not understand what money is and what money is for. Of course we believe we do, because it's obvious. Yeah, it's obvious. The practical, the rules and the laws and that make us go out. That means the manufactured scarcity that makes us go out and look for a job or whatever we do in order to make some money. We do it without thinking about the system that's behind it or underneath. There is an institution. There is a system, and who controls it? And cui bono? That's always the problem. If we live in a class-based society, we always need to understand we always need to ask cui bono? Who controls it? If it's not you, if it's not me, who is it? How do you do it? How do they do it? What are the mechanisms they use to control the most important institutions that exist in society, that are part of the state, and that are used to control all of us, besides the purpose of keeping society organized? I want an organized society. Okay, but the point of the point I'm trying to make is that this is not about an organized society. This is about who controls society, while making us believe that this is just how society needs to be organized, and that's it. You don't need to think about it. We have to leave it for experts. We know we have to we need to allow the foxes to keep an eye on to be the ones that manage the chicken coop. Okay, that's what exactly it is, and that's why we can. It is very easy to keep us in this state of helplessness, in this state of uncertainty, in that we don't know where to move. We don't even know what to think. And then if we do not understand, we are going to fall for the wrong people. We are going to support the ones that are able to manipulate us ideologically. The ones that are able to use scapegoating in order to weaponize us emotionally, to make us slaves. That's a form of slavery. It's a form of ideological and ideological, emotional dominating us, controlling us through emotional manipulation, through perception manipulation, that in order to transform us in useful idiots, because that's what it is. If we defend people and political parties, politicians and oligarchs and plutocrats, without trying to understand if they do really have our best interest, and even in the case that our individual best interest in their agenda, why should we defend them, support them? What we need is not to defend people. I always have this and by the way, I always try to make another point, which is that it should never be about people. It's about ideas. It's about projects. It's about programs, political programs. It's about systems. It's about understanding processes and all of that. It's not about, do not discuss people. It's not because people are not important. Yes, people are important, and people are different from each other. And there are leaders and leaders. I know it. There are people that really want the best for the collective, and the ones that just want to use other people to fulfill their own agendas, or the agendas for their benefactors. And we waste our time and our intellectual energy investing in people. See the case of Bernie Sanders, or the case of Trump, or the case of other people. So many people are deceived because a social movement, a political movement, or any organization or political party, it's not about a leader. It's about the program. It's about what we want to achieve. Because if, again, the cult of personality and the idea of a savior, a hero, a leader, waiting for others to save, to be the ones that implement some change, that's wrong. That will always lead us to be deceived and oppressed and used and exploited. Because we are the ones that we have been waiting for. It's about empowering us. It's about focusing on the ideas. It's about understanding the roots of the problems. It's not about idolatry. Okay? It's not about idolatry. I mean, I admire a lot of people. I do admire people. I do have a lot of respect for a lot of people. And I think there is not a single person of those that I admire that I agree with them 100%. Okay? That's the combination of what I learned from them, their experience, that allows me to build my own body of knowledge through my own experience, and that is useful to me to understand reality, and I need it. But so it's not about I'm not imagining following. I mean, I'm not meaning tweet in social media, okay? I mean in the real life, to follow them. Because this is part of the imperialistic mentality. This is part of the class-based mentality. This is part of what is wrong with our societies and with our civilization that is all over the world. This is not only a Western problem. Because I've been in other places and I know what I know about civilization. Imperialist civilization it is obsolete. It needs to be replaced. And that's the problem with capitalism. That's why we need to question capitalism, because capitalism, the need for capitalism to expand, makes imperialism a necessity. And in a world that is full, how can we make it work without war, permanent war? Why do we have permanent wars? Do you believe those wars are caused by religious divisions? No, it's the weaponization it's the imperialistic weaponization of war. It's not religious wars, and it has always been like that. The wars is about private. That's the problem, not the state. The state is not the problem. The problem is who controls the state. The state is used by the oligarchs and plutocrats and psychopaths and all the people that have no scruples at all. They just want to control everything. For them, it's never enough. And when you create, I go back to the idea of individual interest. And we all, if we do not understand that this prejudice of individual interest, this principle that do not understand that we, all of us, especially the many, the vast majority of all of us, would be better with a society or with an economy, a social and ecological economy, which means that an economy based on the satisfaction of the needs, of the collective needs, not in the accumulation of wealth, not in the privatization of everything. Because then we are all inoculated with this venom, like poisoned with this idea of that we all are focused on being owners of something, owning a little piece of land, a little house, a little flat, this and that. And we should understand that is a poison. We are social beings, and we need to I don't care if you think it's socialism or communism or whatever. I just think that we need to understand that as social beings, we need to put the social in the political economy, because there is no such thing as the economy without there is no economics without politics. And through a social and ecological economy, we should be the basis for a holistic ecological civilization, which I believe should be the right, not to go back, not anarchy, not anarcho-primitivism, not anarcho-capitalism, not any form of libertarian BS, but a civilization based on the economics of sufficiency, and a civilization for the liberation of people, that we can finally use the time to build the purpose and meaning to bring purpose and meaning to our lives as a process, as a project, while we are part of society, while we are productive beings as well, but not that we have as more time as possible to enjoy family life, leisure, and education needs to change totally. There is no being indoctrinated to become a tool, a cog in a machine. Need to be educated to become critical thinkers, to understand to have a role in political and economic agency. Not to be followers, not to be always dependent, or always thinking that, okay, who is going the next guy that promised us to, from Obama, don't you understand the deception that these people are allowed to get to power, to positions of power, because they are going to deceive us. They are going to be their role is to deceive us, is to use us, is to make us believe that something is going to change. But change will never happen. Systemic change will never happen. And the reforms they eventually do, they will roll back. That's what we have been witnessing for most of our lives. And and people seem and we are not able, too many of us, to understand how they manipulate us. It's not to understand that we are manipulated. I mean, I think most of us understand it, that we are manipulated. But we have to go beyond it. We need to understand how we are manipulated, and how the system is able to keep us manipulated, and to keep us, to avoid us, that keeping us in a state that we do not even dare to ask the right questions in a sustainable way. Because again, everything is a process, and we do not challenge the dominant narratives unless we have a constant process of questioning why am I controlled by them? Why those narratives have such a power over me? So this is I'm going to end. It will be, of course, I will go back to this because this is not. This is a reflection. This is a process. This is not something. It's not the truth. This is not about achieving. It's just about bringing reflection to light. That's the purpose of my talking, my walkings. Okay, thanks for listening. I will be back soon.